It is one of the best things and ideas that I've ever heard to be there. Today I want to talk to you about something that I heard from Joe Rogan as a piece of advice, and it really, really inspired me. And the hope is that we're talking about it, it inspires you as well. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly go over where I'm coming from and why this really inspired me. I want to be clear and tell you that I'm not coming from a place of infinite knowledge or wisdom here. I don't have an incredible lifestyle. I have an incredible family and wonderful girlfriend, and I have a car. I mean, it's a Vauxhall Corsa, third hand, but it'll do. I'm 25 years old, I still live with my parents, and I don't have a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong, I have had a wonderful life to date with some incredible experiences, and I'm very grateful for that, but I'm not where I need to be in my life right now. Hence, I've started this channel, because I actually want to put in effort to building something with this channel, to create a life that I really enjoy and I'm fulfilled with, rather than delivering parcels for Amazon, which is what I've been doing for the past few months. I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not trying to preach to you, and I'm not coming from some form of higher wisdom of incredible and extensive life experience. I'm probably quite similar to you, and I just want to share something with you that has really inspired me, so here it is.
I think what you were bringing up with Joey is a real good point, that a lot of people say, oh, I just want to sort of, they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the fuck you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world. You know, if you decide I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, you know, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it. What I tell people is the best advice that I've ever heard, the best advice I ever came up with, is that live your life like you're the hero in your movie. And right now is when the fucking movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster, like every fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he wakes up and makes a blender full of pizza and ice cream, and that's what he, you know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys where they're like on the brink, they put the gun in their mouth and they put it down because they see a photo of their daughter. Pretend that's you. Pretend you are, right now, you're in the part of the movie that starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior. Do what you would want to do so that your kids one day would look back at it and see that documentary and look on it with pride. Like, wow, my dad was a bad motherfucker. He really did what he had to do. Wow, my mom really got her shit together. I love a success story. But even more than a success story, I like a dude who fucks his life up and then gets it back together again story. Those are my favorite stories. And the way to do that, you gotta write shit down. You gotta think that you are the hero in your own fucking movie, and then you gotta sit down and you gotta write shit down. Write down what you need to do.
And you're back with me again. I'm sure you probably forgot that you were watching a different YouTuber instead of just Joe Rogan clips. I love that clip for a lot of reasons. And the world is full of a lot of people that would rather be a victim today because it's easier. Short term, it's easier to blame your problems and your shortcomings on things that aren't you, because that justifies your decision to just sit back and not try, which is a lot easier. It's easier to blame the government or your past traumas or just other people for the reason why you've fallen short. And the thing is that does precisely nothing for you or other people around you except from kill your spirit and just turn other people off of you. Because what happens is ultimately you become a whiny, bitchy and negative energy around people, and you lose people. I mean, I've seen it. I've lived with these people and I've cut them out of my life. And by the way, those people will have found that other people cut them out of their life until they were only surrounded by people who were either like them or worse than them. And then they would have complained about the people they were surrounded with. Another thing I really love about what Joe says here, not like I'm on first name terms with Joe Rogan, though I would like to be, I really like that he talks about writing stuff down and being specific. It's very easy and tempting to be vague about your goals because then you haven't really outlined the conditions for failure, so that when you fail, it's not very obvious to you that you failed, and it's not very obvious to other people around you that you've failed, so you can almost kind of gaslight yourself and just be ignorant to the fact that you are failing. And in the short to medium term, it doesn't hurt nearly as much because you've not defined success and failure, so when something happens, it's not necessarily failure to you. The problem is that long term, that works out to be disastrous, because you've ignored the fact that you're failing constantly and constantly, again and again and again, and then it gets to a point where it's unavoidable, and you're 40 odd years old and 20 years have gone by and you've failed dramatically. And I think that will be much more painful. Not that I've had that experience in my life. I think that would be much more painful than failing repeatedly, but in the pursuit of a goal. So if you are at a bit of a crossroads in terms of your ambitions and your goals, think about them for a while, and I would really suggest write them down. Make sure they're worth attaining and that there is a clear path to going and getting them. And from there, step by step, go and get them. It is one of the best things and ideas that I've ever heard, to be the hero of your own story. And you know what heroes go through in films? When you watch a really good film with a really good hero, they go through a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, and a lot of failures. Think of your favourite hero. It could be a superhero, it can be a protagonist in any film that you like. What do they go through? Hardships, setbacks. That's what makes them a hero. That's what gives them that arc. And if you don't have to go through immense amount of struggle to get to your goal, it's probably not a worthwhile goal. I mean, think of it this way. Who wants to watch a film where the hero is perfect in every single way, it's easy to attain their goals, and they basically suffer no setbacks in the film whatsoever, and they're better than everyone and already perfect and don't have flaws? And again, I'm not trying to talk to you as if I am some motivation guru or I'm David Goggins, though I'd like to be in some ways, but also in many ways not. Sometimes it is easier to take the easy way out. And I do it loads of times. I'm trying to do it less and less and less. But it's so easy to just say to yourself, nah, I don't feel like working out tonight. Or I don't feel like doing any writing tonight. Whatever it is, we always make some absolute bullshit excuse to ourselves because we think that nobody's watching. But that's not true. And I'm not saying that someone's stalking you here. I'm saying that you are always watching you. I am always watching me. Every single time you don't do something that you should do, or you have a lazy night when you know you have to get something done, you're observing you. And every time you do that, you are telling yourself something about yourself. In your own self-story that we're talking about here, you are teaching yourself that you are not a go-getter and that you don't have discipline. And if you're not careful with the amount of times you procrastinate and scroll on your phone, like I have been known to do and I'm trying to work on, you're going to repeat that behavior again and again and again. And you're going to fall into that vicious cycle. And in 10 years' time, you're going to realize how much potential that you wasted. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect, if such a thing exists, or you can't be fun. Quite the opposite. If you are the hero of your own story, you also need to have good relationships with good people around you. You're also essentially the director of your own story, and you need a great supporting cast around you to make a good film. You have to cast the right people for those roles, because you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And you need people around you that are fun, because let's be frank, what's the point of all of this if we can't have fun? But you need people who will call you out on your bullshit and will help you improve, and who genuinely want the best for you. Heroes struggle and heroes fail. And to quote one of my favorite other quotes, you're only defeated once you've accepted it. It is so important. It's arguably the most important thing you can do in your life, is sit down and think about what you want in your life. Strategize. Figure out what's meaningful to you. And that can be something completely different than what is meaningful to me, but figure out what you want. And then all of the pain and the suffering and the failures will all be part of this incredible story, and it will be meaningful suffering instead of self-inflicted suffering like I had when I was working at Amazon, which paid me a wage, which really isn't nothing, but I was suffering day after day after day, and I felt like it didn't mean anything and I wasn't building anything. Suffer with meaning. You've just got to have a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you're picking the right journey and the right goal, then the pain that you experience will make you stronger as a human being, because there'll be a reason you need to feel that pain. If you want to get a black belt on jiu-jitsu, well, you're going to feel a lot of physical pain, but you're also going to feel a lot of pain of struggling to get better. But you will consistently, through tapping out, learn how to be better, and that will directly get you closer to where you want to go. When you frame your life in the way that Joe Rogan described in that clip from a long time ago, your life becomes more meaningful, and so does your pain. And if you want to aspire for something great or brilliant, then you're going to have to go through a hell of a lot of pain and suffering and failure, and you shouldn't want it any other way. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I've been Samuel Turner. You can call me Sam. Thanks for watching.